I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're sick of the rhetoric that Destiny 2 is dying. Trust me, as a creator who has made a living covering this game over the past 3 years, I hate it, I'm sure the devs hate it, just as you all hate the idea of a game you've committed 10 years of your life to suddenly fading into the background of your gaming catalog. But sadly, that doesn't mean we can ignore the state of the game either. Over the past few months, Destiny has dipped to all-time low player counts, and there are several factors contributing to this. We've reached the end of a 10-year saga. The Witness has been defeated, and all of that build-up to the ultimate big bad in the franchise is now over. And Bungie hasn't really given us a reason to stay invested with the game long-term. Episodes are essentially just rebranded seasons, Prismatic has significantly limited build diversity, and weapons have become far less interesting, as they not only have to compete with abilities, they also have to outshine 8 years worth of power creep to remain relevant. And if they're not, you're left asking yourself, do I really need to farm for this when I have 10 other weapons that basically do the same thing? Layer on franchise fatigue, and it starts to make a lot of sense as to why you haven't had that itch to play Destiny lately. So where do we go from here? I'm Above, and today we'll be discussing 3 ways that Destiny can evolve in 2025 and beyond to not only earn back your playtime, but your trust as a player as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. After killing the Witness, the game has felt eerily empty, with a bizarre lack of direction that feels like we're kind of just existing at this point. I actually saw someone compare this to the Marvel Universe after the Avengers defeated Thanos, where they too are having a very difficult time keeping fans invested after defeating the ultimate big bad. And sadly, Destiny is suffering this same fate. Now let me be clear. This is no easy challenge for any studio to overcome, but I do find it a bit strange that we had multiple years worth of lead up to Savathûn, 2 DLCs dedicated to the Witness, and then nothing. If Bungie wanted to keep players invested long term, defeating the Witness could have been the natural segue into the next big thing, the next reason to stay invested in the franchise. Instead, we got radio silence, which made the final shape an easy exit point for a lot of players. Prismatic, a subclass that literally combines the best parts of the other 3.0 subclasses and is the only subclass that has access to the busted exotic class items, kind of felt like the last hurrah for the sandbox. It's a level of power fantasy we had never seen before, and it's honestly hard to imagine how Bungie can ever top this. It's the kind of game-altering decision that made you think, Destiny 3 has to be on the horizon, right? Well, no. There was no announcement of a new game, no news beyond the upcoming episodes, just another set of layoffs. In fact, it was actually a tweet from the highly reputable Jason Schreier that confirmed Destiny 3 was never actually in production in the first place, and to this day, there has been no official word from Bungie on the status of Destiny 3. All we know is that Frontiers are supposed to be the next big thing, and we are rapidly approaching the expected launch date of summer 2025. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that all we want is a bit of direction, an idea of where we're going. But as a longtime Destiny fan, I'm a bit concerned that all we've seen about Frontiers is concept art at this point. However, these unknowns also give Bungie a unique opportunity to do what I believe is best for the game's success long term. When you look at the concept art for Frontiers, I have a significant spark of hope, or cope, that comes with the unfamiliar, desolate, and mysterious locations teased in this artwork. What if we do actually leave our solar system to respond to emergency beacons across the galaxy? What if the Traveler doesn't come with us? And what if, on this long journey, we have to leave the majority of our powers and gear behind? This would immediately give us a story-driven reason to solve a lot of the major issues that I posed at the beginning of this video, and we don't even need a Destiny 3 to do it. First and foremost, we'd have a renewed sense of exploration, and infinite opportunities for new storylines to grab players and get them reinvested in the franchise again. I think we can all agree that Destiny is at its best when the universe is mysterious, filled with secrets and unknowns that capture our inner explorer. Game engines and bugs aside, this, in my opinion, solves the majority of Destiny's most pressing issues. First and foremost, our current universe is solved. We've kind of done all there is to do, and in a lot of ways, the current iteration of the universe lacks continuity. There are varying timelines where Cabal are our allies, and others where they're enemies. There are timelines where the Witness still exists, and others where he's defeated, and the Dread are aimlessly defending their turf without a leader or clear purpose. It's time for us to leave this galaxy for a new one, and in doing so, we get new stories to tell with the ability to do a complete power reset in the process. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of you that had the immediate knee-jerk reaction of, I would quit the game forever if Bungie did this. Well, the sad reality is, the majority of their player base has quit, and if they don't do some sort of reset, I want you to genuinely ask yourself, where can Bungie realistically go from here? How do they keep loot interesting? How do they rival the power of a subclass that quite literally combines the best elements of all the other 3.0s into one? Is it nerfs? We all know you hate those. Is it buffs to other subclasses? And if it is, how do they do that while maintaining a sense of challenge that most players crave without just leaning on artificial modifiers? This is a cyclical, never-ending issue that eventually impacts all live service games. And there is a reason why so many others unapologetically do loot resets on a very regular basis. Whether it's Path of Exile 2, Diablo 4, World of Warcraft, Escape from Tarkov, Valorant, Overwatch, or the dozens of other games that do loot and rank resets, it is always done to continuously keep their players invested. Do you never get bored of a fully built out world in Minecraft? Or have a character in a story game like Skyrim that gets so strong that eventually the game becomes boring? There is something to be said about the ascent to power, the journey to the endgame, where all loot is meaningful, all upgrades are noticeable, and your day-to-day playtime is much more rewarding. When evaluating top priority items for Destiny in 2025 and beyond, one of the most pressing issues is the replayability of existing content. Instead of always having to develop new, untested game modes that may or may not resonate with the community, I'd like to see Bungie invest more resources into the proven core of their game. I vividly remember a Datto video providing feedback on this exact issue a few years ago, stating that the game had aggressively expanded outward, but in doing so, had become extremely shallow. It's the age-old problem of being the jack of all trades, but a master of none. Most game modes are relatively surface level. You go into an activity, get loot, and the majority of the time, you delete that loot because you already have something better. This is a major issue with Destiny's core game modes, and has been for quite some time, where Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit really lack any sort of purpose whatsoever. When you think of peak times in Destiny, what comes to mind? To me, it was strike-specific loot in Destiny 1, the pinnacle weapon grind during Forsaken, the unique difficulty and sense of achievement from Pantheon, and the highly popular shiny weapon grind from Onslaught. All of these iterated on existing game modes in one way or another, and gave us extended grinds that are all considered to be some of the best times in Destiny history. And despite that, none of them exist in the game today. We all know Bungie invests significant resources into content development, So why not use it? It's time to modernize the core playlists, update seals, add rare cosmetics, and give players new aspirational content that can be progressed over extended periods of time. Let's use seals as our primary example here. Seals are tied to just about every aspect of Destiny. Whether it's raids, dungeons, strikes, crucible, gambit, seasonal content, or holiday events, there's usually a seal that can be earned in some sort of capacity. However, seals haven't really been updated all that much since their introduction during Forsaken. I am a 13-time conqueror, and the grind to make this number bigger each episode has become extremely monotonous. Simply complete the 9 featured Grandmasters and you'll gild your seal. This typically takes my group anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, and while I understand this isn't the norm for everyone, I think we can all agree that it's not the most innovative or engaging grind anymore. So what if Bungie added an additional layer of challenge? A way we could prestige or ascend our seals by completing new objectives. What if we had to complete every GM without dying? Or complete unique time trials for each nightfall? And what if, after you've prestiged your seal, you could then ascend it by soloing all 9 Grandmasters? All of a sudden, you've taken a 6 to 10 hour grind and turned that same playlist into 100 plus hours of aspirational content. Something you could work towards throughout a season that motivates you to log in every day. And here's a crazy idea: what if they put some dope cosmetics behind it? I'm talking armor glows, skins for legendary nightfall weapons, and auras that would stay on your character until the end of the episode. You could take this formula and apply it to the rest of the game, and you'd have much higher player engagement after the hype of new content starts to die down. Whether it's 100 kills with every weapon type in the Crucible, collecting 100 Army of 1 medals in Gambit, or helping 25 new Guardians through a raid, there are ways we can spice up the endgame with meaningful challenge, ones that give players a sense of accomplishment and dope cosmetic rewards that start to turn heads in the tower again. Well guys, those are the 3 ways I'd like to see Destiny evolve in 2025 and beyond. I obviously couldn't cover everything with this list, so let me know down in the comments. Do you guys agree? What other changes would you guys like to see? Be sure to sound off down below. Our next video will be covering Destiny's new player model and why I think the New Light system can be revamped to get more players invested in the Destiny universe. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.